Hi, it's Jennifer McKenzie, your K-12 district teacher librarian, and this week's PD Read Aloud is another excerpt from Dan Tricarico's Sanctuaries, Self-Care Secrets for Stressed Out Teachers. So I want to remind you all where you can access the free digital version. Lisa Utt secured a $10,000 grant to populate Gale with fabulous content. So here I am at the school district homepage. I'm clicking on Library Media Services, and then Gale is right here. That's our database as well as some ebook content. If you're ever asked to type in a password, it is Sayusla, all lowercase. So here's the landing page for the databases. There's all the ebooks, and then the professional development ebook library is right there. And tons of titles on the left you can access, but I did curate a little band of self-care books already. So here's Sanctuaries. Dan Tricarico is also the author of The Zen Teacher, Creating Focus, Simplicity, and Tranquility in the Classroom. Fabulous book. So if you have ever been a Kindle reader or any of the other online texts that you've been using during the pandemic, this looks very similar. And I love this book because it's really short passages or little mini chapters, and then they have these writing prompts at the end that just ask you to pause and think about your own self-care practices. So I'm going to hop around and keep this segment brief. The title of this chapter is Permission is Power. So it's all about just giving yourself permission to take care of yourself. And there's a little snippet from Brene Brown I will share as well. So here we go. When a student turns 18, he or she can vote in elections and fight for our country. But just weeks before, that same student was asking you for permission to go to the bathroom. So it talks about how we have permission slips in our school systems for liability reasons. Of course. Towards the bottom it says, as adults, the time comes when magically we are suddenly in charge of ourselves. As grown-ups, no one is responsible for permission over us but us. Some might argue, perhaps justifiably, that by entering into a number of different relationships, like marriage and parenthood, we concede being fully in charge of ourselves and instead share that authority with one another. Even if that is accurate to some degree, we can still give ourselves permission to choose, permission to be happy, permission to start or end a relationship, permission to make more money, permission to take a risk or to take action. What we do with our lives is entirely up to us. What an awesome and wholly terrifying proposition. The control and responsibility we have over our existence means that we are the only ones who can give ourselves permission for self-care and self-compassion. It also means that we must find the strength to give ourselves permission to slow down, rest, or pamper ourselves in a way that helps us avoid burning out, melting down, or crashing all together. Giving ourselves permission for things isn't always easy. As the saying goes, it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission, even when we're asking ourselves for that permission. As someone who for years needed a great deal of help in learning to be more assertive, I get it. For many of us, giving ourselves permission to take an action that we think might inconvenience others feels close to impossible. Sometimes we have to force ourselves to look out for number one, take the bull by the horns, throw caution to the wind, and put ourselves first by granting ourselves the permission for, dare I say, self-love. Because, say it with me, self-care is self-love. Okay? And I'm going to kind of cruise through. And here's the Brene Brown piece, Permission Slips. In her book, Rising Strong, noted storyteller and shame researcher Brene Brown talks about the importance of giving ourselves actual physical permission slips. I have never thought about doing this. She tells the story of writing her first self-permission slip on a sticky note before recording a television episode with Oprah Winfrey. She wrote, "When I go on the Oprah Winfrey Show, I give myself permission to be excited, have fun, and to be goofy." Talk about grace under pressure. If someone told me I was going to record a television show with Oprah, I wouldn't need a permission slip because my head would explode. Imagine the freedom and liberation of giving yourself permission to enjoy life no matter the circumstances. Now imagine the import and significance of having that freedom and liberation, that permission in writing. In our culture, a signed slip with a signature is a binding contract that must be upheld. Why not use that cultural habit to make sure you get what you need? And then he relates a story about his wife really wanting to take care of herself one weekend, and she wanted to get a mani-pedi, but she felt like she did not have the time. And so he went on his computer and typed up a little permission slip real quick and made it official by putting a stamp on it as a seal. And then she actually made it happen that weekend. So here is an example on the screen of a permission slip. I write your name in, give myself permission to blank for whatever blank amount of time, and then you actually sign it. Okay? All right, so here's the actual physical book, and at the elementary school, there is a team of staff members who are putting together a peer support and health and wellness team. And it's all about reducing our stress load, making time for self-care so that we can care for others. Remember, we have to put on our own oxygen mask first before we're even able to help our students. So one of the activities we're doing at an upcoming staff meeting is making a one-page kitty journal out of one sheet of paper. And I'm walking staff members through the very first chapter in this book is all about, sorry, my lighting is off. It's all about sanctuaries and identifying 3 sanctuaries. So I wrote down 3 of my sanctuaries are home, nature, and art. And then I took it another step further on the next page. After reading this chapter, and there's my little permission slip inside of my silly little kitty journal. And it reads, I, Jennifer McKenzie, give myself permission to buy some new art supplies the week of March the 1st, and then actually use them. So I now have permission to buy myself some pretty paints on Amazon so I can paint with them this weekend. Anyway, put it in writing, people. Give yourself permission to take care of yourself so that we can be wholly present to take care of those in our school system. Thank you.